There's a moment in one of Eric Clapton's biggest hits that has puzzled fans for decades. A voice, soft, haunting, and completely unexpected, slips into the chorus and refuses to be ignored. It isn't Clapton, it isn't a bandmate, and for years nobody could agree on who it actually was. The strange part? That single voice helped turn the song into Clapton's only #1 hit, yet most listeners never learned the story behind it. This mystery didn't start with Clapton, though. It began with Bob Marley, a song about justice, and a meaning that even today sparks debates, theories, and countless fan interpretations. But the real twist isn't about what the song meant, it's about who quietly helped make it unforgettable. And the truth behind that hidden voice is far more surprising than anyone expected. The unexpected mystery behind the song. When Eric Clapton released his cover of I Shot the Sheriff, all around in our hometown, fans immediately connected with the groove, the rhythm, and the unmistakable guitar tone. But there was something else buried inside the track, something most listeners couldn't stop talking about. In the middle of Clapton's gritty delivery, a soft, soaring female voice suddenly lifted the entire song into a different atmosphere. It was so distinct that people began asking the same question over and over. Who is she? What made the curiosity even stronger was how out of place the voice seemed. Clapton's band wasn't known for featuring female vocalists, and the album credits didn't draw attention to anyone new. So listeners were left to guess, fueling rumors, theories, and all kinds of speculation. Some insisted it was a studio singer who never got her due. Others believed Clapton had quietly brought in a rising star. And as the song climbed the charts, the mystery only deepened. But that unanswered question wasn't the only thing giving this track an unusual edge, because long before Clapton stepped into the studio, the song already carried a history that sparked even more confusion. Marley's story and the meaning people debated. Before Clapton ever touched the song, I Shot the Sheriff had already stirred up plenty of debate. Bob Marley wrote it in 1973, building a story around a man who admits to one act, shooting the sheriff, while desperately insisting he never touched the deputy. On the surface, it sounded like a straightforward narrative, almost like a scene out of a Western. But fans didn't leave it there. Rumors began spreading that Marley had hidden deeper messages inside the lyrics. Some listeners believed the song was really about the feeling of being targeted by authority figures. Others argued it was a metaphor for personal struggles Marley couldn't openly discuss. And because Marley rarely spelled out the exact meaning behind his songs, the mystery only grew stronger. Those theories weren't pulled out of thin air. Marley had grown up in Trenchtown, a place where he often felt watched, judged, or mistreated by the police. He once said that no matter where he went, he carried the weight of Trenchtown with him. That background made fans even more convinced that the song was a coded cry about injustice, though nothing was ever confirmed. But whether or not the public truly understood Marley's intention, one thing was clear: the song had power. And that power is exactly what drew Clapton's band to it, setting the stage for a cover that would come with challenges Marley probably never expected. Clapton steps in, but not confidently. When Clapton first heard I Shot the Sheriff, he wasn't thinking about chart success or cultural impact. In fact, he wasn't even sure he wanted to record it. The idea actually came from his band, who believed the song's rhythm and tension were perfect for the sound they were shaping. They pushed him to give it a try, insisting that his voice and playing could bring something new to Marley's already powerful track. Clapton eventually agreed, but not with the confidence people might expect from a musician of his stature. By the early 70s, he was already considered a guitar legend. Someone known for jumping between blues, rock, and jazz as if they were second nature. But reggae, that was different, and he knew it. He admitted later that the moment he stepped into the studio, he felt unsure. He knew exactly how the song should feel, and he also knew he wasn't hitting that mark. His band loved the groove, the label believed in the idea, but Clapton kept second-guessing himself. The pressure wasn't coming from the fans, the critics, or even the charts, it was coming from his own expectations. And yet, despite his doubts, they kept recording. But the more they worked, the more Clapton felt the gap between what he imagined and what he heard. That tension between confidence and uncertainty became the invisible force shaping the track. And it wouldn't be the last challenge he faced before the song took on a life of its own. The reggae challenge. Clapton's hesitation didn't come out of nowhere. He had grown up hearing ska, blue beat, and early reggae pouring out of clubs in England, thanks to the growing West Indian communities shaping the local music scene. To him, this wasn't just another style, it was a sound with its own heartbeat, its own rules, and its own attitude. And he respected it too much to fake it. But knowing what something should sound like is one thing. Recreating it in the studio is something else entirely. Clapton felt that every time the band tried to lock into the groove, they were slightly off. Maybe it was the timing, maybe the feel, maybe the way reggae naturally leans back instead of forward. Whatever it was, Clapton couldn't ignore it. The ironic part is that while he was busy criticizing every detail, the American audience heard something completely different. To them, the track felt fresh, bold, and unlike anything Clapton had released before. They weren't comparing it to the music blasting out of sound systems in Kingston. They were hearing a new twist from a familiar artist. Clapton still wasn't convinced. He thought the track was missing something, some subtle element that would make the rhythm truly click. But that tension, that uncertainty ended up creating a unique blend, his natural blues instincts pushing against the reggae structure. And buried inside that blend was a moment no one expected, a voice that would shape the entire song's identity. The song takes off, and so does the mystery voice. When the final mix was finished, Clapton still wasn't sure they had nailed it. But the public didn't hesitate. The moment the song hit the airwaves, it took off, faster than anyone involved expected. Radio stations played it non-stop, the single rocketed up the charts, and within weeks, Clapton had something he had never reached before, a #1 hit. But while the track climbed, another conversation began bubbling under the surface. Listeners kept talking about the same thing, that soft, rising female harmony tucked behind Clapton's vocals. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, but it changed the entire mood of the chorus. It gave the song a sweetness that contrasted sharply with the darker storyline, almost like a voice trying to calm the tension in the room. The strange part? There was no big announcement about a featured singer. No spotlight, no interviews, just a voice that appeared out of nowhere and instantly grabbed attention. Fans started comparing it to singers they recognized, throwing out theories, arguing on forums, and trying to match the tone. Some believed it had to be someone famous recording under the radar. Others insisted it was an uncredited studio vocalist who never got recognition. And because Clapton wasn't talking, the mystery grew. But the truth was hiding in plain sight, and the person behind that voice had a story of her own, one that was about to take her far beyond backing vocals. The reveal, the woman behind the voice. The voice that had sparked all the guessing, all the debate, and all the late-night theories belonged to someone who was already quietly shaping Clapton's sound from behind the scenes. Her name was Yvonne Elliman, a singer with a warm, effortless tone that could glide through any melody without ever stealing the spotlight.
I don't want nobody, baby, if I can't have you.
At the time, she wasn't a household name, but anyone who worked with her knew she had something special. Elliman had joined Clapton's circle as a backing vocalist, and the chemistry was immediate. Her voice fit his music the way a harmony is supposed to, soft enough to support, strong enough to elevate. When she stepped into the booth for I Shot the Sheriff, she didn't try to overpower anything. She simply added a touch of sweetness, a calm shimmer that floated above Clapton's delivery. That subtle blend became one of the song's most unforgettable details. But Elliman wasn't destined to stay in the background for long. Not even close. Within a few years, she would break away and launch her own solo career, eventually scoring a massive hit with If I Can't Have You. Suddenly, the same voice people had puzzled over in Clapton's song was topping charts under her own name. Still, for many listeners, that first introduction, the hidden harmony in I Shot the Sheriff, remained the moment that stuck with them. And while she never sought attention for it, her contribution helped shape the song's entire identity. Without her voice, the track wouldn't have had the same balance, the same lift, or the same emotional pull. But the story doesn't end with Elliman. Because while the song was exploding, there was one more person whose reaction mattered more than anyone else's, the man who wrote it. And when Clapton finally crossed paths with Bob Marley, the conversation took an unexpected turn. What Bob Marley thought. For all the excitement around Clapton's version, there was one opinion no one could predict, Bob Marley's. After all, the song was his creation, built from his experiences and shaped by everything he carried out of Trenchtown. Covering it was one thing, Earning Marley's respect was another. Clapton didn't know how Marley would react. Would he think the reggae feel was off? Would he think the tone was too polished? Would he wonder why a British rock artist had stepped into such personal territory? Those questions hung over Clapton long after the recording was finished. So when the two musicians finally crossed paths, Clapton took the opportunity to ask him directly, hoping for clarity, maybe even approval. He tried to get Marley to explain the meaning behind the lyrics, to break down the mystery that fans had been debating for years. But the conversation didn't go the way Clapton expected. Marley answered, but the way he spoke, the phrasing, the rhythm, it all slipped past Clapton. He couldn't quite grasp what Marley was saying. But then came the part that mattered. Marley told him he liked what they had done. No complaints, no criticism, just a quiet nod of respect. And for Clapton, that was a relief he didn't even realize he'd been waiting for. It didn't solve the debate about the song's deeper meaning, and it didn't reveal the coded message fans kept searching for. If anything, it kept the mystery alive. But it proved one thing. Marley saw something in the cover, something true enough that he didn't question it. And with that, the song's two worlds, Marley's roots and Clapton's interpretation, finally connected, leaving behind a track that carried pieces of both men and a hidden voice that helped push it into history. A voice that defined a classic. At the end of the day, I Shot the Sheriff isn't just a story about a #1 hit or a legendary guitarist. It's a story about how small, unexpected contributions can leave a lasting mark. Yvonne Elliman's soft, soaring harmony didn't dominate the track, but it gave it depth, emotion, and a subtle magic that listeners couldn't ignore. Her voice turned a great cover into an unforgettable one. Clapton brought his signature style, blending blues and rock with a reggae foundation he still didn't fully understand. Marley gave it life with his story, his tension, and his unmistakable spirit. And somewhere in between, a hidden harmony quietly became the heartbeat of the song. It's a reminder that music isn't just about the frontman, the legend, or the chart position. It's about the voices, the choices, and the moments that often go unnoticed but shape the way a song lives in the world. A voice tucked behind the chorus, a subtle touch, a collaborator working in the shadows. Sometimes those are the pieces that define a classic. So next time you listen to I Shot the Sheriff, don't just hear Clapton's guitar or Marley's words. Listen for the hidden layers, the voices that made it soar, and the stories that history almost forgot. Because every legend has them. And in this song, one voice quietly changed everything.